Hello and welcome to the 30k channel, a channel dedicated to games set in the Horus Heresy. I'm your host, David Brains, and I've been joined by Ross and Simon. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Excellent stuff. Now, these gents have put an amazing effort getting here today. We've got Ross from Windsor, is that right? Yeah. And the nice local journey of Nottingham for you.
Oh, yeah. Straight road. All the way.
Bloke. Nice. We have got a spectacular game for you. We've got Sons of Horus versus Imperial Fists. And I'm looking out over the battlefield at the moment, gents, and I think it's going to be a keen game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Difficult.
The tide of yellow is ever present on the board. There is tons of models, and we're facing off against a really, really elite Sons of Horus force.
Yeah, I've not got a lot. There's not a lot here.
God.
Literally, there's 5 units on the board.
It's not good. But we've got 2 Primarchs on the board. We've got Rogel Dawn and we've got Horus Lupercal. Really excited to see these two. I don't think we've done this matchup yet on the channel.
Ooh.
A Primarch match off at least, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Dawn very much.
No. Well, he's not that strong of a character in Ghost Combat, so much more of an army buff unit. So just going to see if he can duel with Horus and stand.
It's going to be really interesting. We're going to talk through this very, very quickly. Simon, just give us a real quick theory behind your army, if you can.
So my army is pure fluff. That's why I take Horus and Abaddon together. In all the books that you read, they're always deep striking in. They're always coming out of nowhere, tip of the spear, hit them hard, and that's just what I've based it on. So just elite units, bit of distraction, and then get Horus and Abby to just drop in and just smash it to bits, really, hopefully.
Ooh, and he's got a lot to smash to bits when he gets the Imperial Fists, hasn't he?
Yeah, so my army is based obviously upon the Defenders of Terror, so I've got lots of infantry, lots of fire support, hopefully going to hold that line until we get into a duel.
Yeah, it's going to be a really interesting game. The forces are polar opposites almost, but it's really interesting to see this really elite Sons of Horus versus kind of the rank and file, I guess, of the Imperial Fists. So the mission we've got for you today, we've got 2,500 points. We've got Onslaught, so an objective to pace the opponent's deployment zone. You've got to get there for 5 points at the end of the game.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting with Sons of Horus because they've got the long march. It does benefit you as you advance forward.
Yeah, so you've got relentless in your own deployment zone, fleet in no man's land, so it makes my stuff quick, but hopefully with my deep strike units, I can just pop up out of nowhere. Surprise! Here I am. And then, but we'll see. I've got so much armour to get through.
Yeah. But this is what's going to be interesting for the Imperial Fist because this mission encourages you to move forward, whereas you could be accused of being a little bit static.
Yeah, so obviously my right of war is Stone Gauntlet, so
Sure.
I do benefit from being in a static gun line, but in this mission it won't help me because I have to move across the board, and as much of my army's on foot, I'm going to have to try and be as mobile as possible.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And if we look at the deployment as well, we've gone for Vanguard Strike, so they're kind of facing off in that diagonal deployment zone. But the battlefield is very heavily choked with stuff, isn't there? There's a lot to navigate around. I didn't realise when I built the board last night, I haven't ever put the warehouse and the generator in the middle of the board with stuff on either side. They've always been biased towards one end. So we've just mixed up a little bit. And, it's a very heavily contested area, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There's an awful lot to get through, so my armour's probably going to struggle to get to the other side of the board.
We might find ourselves in a situation where maybe an Arcus or a Sakara is in the middle, just firing its turret 360 degrees at targets.
Yeah, there's so many targets to go for, but line of sight is going to be sometimes a bit tricky, I think. And
And if we look at the Imperial Fist, they've got a massive, very intimidating, almost like a gun line almost, isn't it? Real stalwart wall of stuff.
For now, it's holding, but once those deep striking units go down, it's going to have to break up. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, and the Sons of Horus, they look like they've been pummeled already.
yeah, I mean, it literally looks like we're 3 days into the Siege of Terror. This is what Horus has got left. He's just come together a battle plan and gone, right, you just hold them for a bit.
Yeah.
If you die, you die. And then I'll come in and sort stuff out.
It's going to be interesting, I think, because we've got the Imperial Fist Primarch in a Spartan. Is he going to shoot forward? Then Horus can kind of deep strike back down. Will then the Primarch, I keep forgetting his name, will Dawn then double back and distract from the line? I don't know. I think it's going to be a very touchy game.
I think Horus, because Horus has got that rule where he does not scatter and he gets to choose when he comes in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Dawn, he's got a real decision to make. Like, does he wait for him to come in or be aggressive and try and take the initiative? But
Yeah, so sorry.
No, please.
No, I was just going to say my main combat unit is a squad of Terminators, but I've only got one, so
Yeah.
that's my one combat unit. I've got to really make a good decision about where that's going to go.
I think it's going to be tough. I think there needs to be some absolute target priority, and we've seen always on the channel, if you play to the mission, you will win the game. So no coercion from me there. We'll see how it goes. Gents, both forces look absolutely fantastic. You've both done an amazing job on your army, so thank you so much for bringing them to the channel. I think we need to look at the lists, and then we'll go in turn one. Now, turn one, you won the roll if you're going first.
Yes.
Do you want to seize?
I will certainly attempt to do so.
You're going to have a try.
Oh.
All right, we're going to come back very quickly with the seize. All right, we're ready for the seize. I just forgot about it for a moment, so we'll cut all that back together. Let's have a seize. Go on.
Let's have a roll. I do not seize. It's a roll of a 2. Sons of Horus going first.
I'm going to last a turn. I'm okay.
All right, we're going to get into these armies, and we'll come back to Sons of Horus turn 1.
This is 2,500 points of Sons of Horus, led by the War Master himself, Horus Lupercal, running the Rite of War, the Long March. This is Horus Lupercal, Lord of War and HQ of the Sons of Horus. He will be leading the army today. Accompanying him is a 5-man Justarian Terminator squad. They are armed with 1 pair of lightning claws, a multi-melter. The rest have combi bolters. There are also 2 chain fists and 2 power fists in the squad. Compulsory HQ choice for the Sons of Horus is Ezekiel Abaddon. He is being accompanied today by a 5-man Justarian Terminator squad, again armed with 1 pair of lightning claws, 2 chain fists, 2 power fists and a multi-melter. The rest have combi bolters. First elite choice for the Sons of Horus is a Contemptor Dreadnought. He is armed with a Carey's assault cannon and a Dreadnought close combat weapon with a inbuilt combi bolter. He's equipped with extra armor. Second elite's choice is a unit of 2 quad mortars. These are armed with shatter shells. Compulsory troops choice for the Sons of Horus is a 10-man tactical veteran squad. They are equipped with bolt guns and extra close combat weapons. There is a heavy bolter in this squad and a plasma gun. The sergeant is armed with a chainsword and bolt pistol. He also has artificer armor, and the squad also has melter bombs. The marine armed with the heavy bolter also has a suspensor web. Heavy support choice for the Sons of Horus is a Dorado pattern dreadnought. He is armed with the Alios missile launchers, Arcanus heavy las cannon battery, and twin-linked heavy bolters. He also has extra armor. Second heavy support choice for the Sons of Horus is a Leviathan siege dreadnought. He is armed with the Leviathan storm cannon, 2 heavy flamers, the Leviathan siege claw, and an inbuilt melter gun. He has extra armor and armored ceramite.
This is an Imperial Fist 2,500 point list led by Rogel Dawn and running the Rite of War Stone Gauntlet. Leading the army is the Primarch of the Imperial Fists, Rogel Dawn himself. He is accompanied by Alexis Pollux. For elite slot, we have a trio of quad mortars as a single battery. They are equipped with frag and shatter shell. For our first troop slot, we have a 5-man Terminator squad in Cataphracti armor. They are all armed with chain fists and equipped with storm shields. Their dedicated transport is a Land Raider Spartan. It is equipped with quad las cannons, a twin-linked heavy bolter, armored ceramite, a flare shield, and a dozer blade. Our second troops unit is a tactical squad. 10 men in the squad. They are equipped with bolt guns and bolt pistols. Their dedicated transport is a Rhino equipped with a dozer blade and multi-melter. Our third troops unit is a 10-man breacher squad. They are equipped with breacher shields, bolt guns, melter bombs. The sergeant has a power axe and is equipped with artificer armor. The fourth and final troops unit is another 10-man breacher squad equipped with breacher shields, bolt guns and melter bombs. The sergeant has a power axe and is equipped with artificer armor. The first heavy support unit is a Sakaran battle tank equipped with accelerator autocannons and a heavy bolter mounted on the hull. The second heavy support unit is an Arcus equipped with missile launcher and a hull-mounted heavy bolter.
Sons of Horus, turn 1, movement. focused mainly on the flanks at the moment. The Contemptor has made his way up slightly to get line of sight onto the Rhino. The tack squad have stayed exactly where they are, just maintaining a bit of rear stability for my lines. Again, the Dreadio doesn't need to move anywhere. The quad mortars are just lined up lovely to try and take out some of this armour. And then the Leviathan has steadily got some lovely breaches to look at and wave. And hopefully it can take them out and start whittling away the Imperial Fist's flanks as well. Sons of Horus turn 1 shooting. The Dreadio is going to start his assault on the Sikaran over there. We're going to start with the las cannon batteries, strength 10 with exo shock. We've discussed and we're in the side armour. So with the Rite of War, the Long March, get to re-roll 1s in the first turn of shooting to hit. So he's going to need 2s to hit with a re-roll of a 1. Oh, re-roll. Yeah, so there we go. We've got 2 hits, which is I need to get rid of something in this first turn. So this has got to happen. Strength 10, side armour 12. So 2s to glance, 3s to pen. Oh dear. So we've just got 1 glance at the moment. That's not going very well. Yeah, when you got 4 up cover save.
Saved by the generator.
Oh dear. So we're now going to fire the missile launchers at the breach squad at the back. Again, it's 2s to hit. All hit. Strength 6, toughness 5. Ooh. All wound. AP 3.
So 6 up in one. 2 dead. And third one is also dead. 3 kills.
Oh, he's redeemed himself slightly with that one. The Leviathan is going to fire his storm cannon at the breacher squad. It is strength 7, 6 shots. Hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s. 1-1 there. Which turns into a 6, that's good. Strength 7, toughness 5. Come on. Quite a few 2s in there.
2s will wound.
2s will wound, won't they? So there's just 1-1 in there.
The Imperial Fist breachers have taken 2 wounds so far. The next are going to have to go onto the breachers sergeant, which we're going to look out, sir, onto the rest of the squad. First one, passed on to another man in the unit, who is killed. The second one, passed on to another man in the unit, who is also killed. And the third and final one is passed on directly onto the sergeant. He's on a 2-up armour save, and he survives. 4 dead total.
The quad mortars now are going to attempt to destroy the Sikaran that's hiding behind there with their shatter shells with 8 shots total. Hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s. That looks pretty good. Just 2 misses there. Strength 8. Side armour 12. So we're going to need 4s to glance, 5s to pen with a re-roll. So we've got 4 re-rolls there with 2 there. Let's see what we get. Come on, come on. Horus is watching. Oh, 2 more there. Managed to get 4 penetrating hits on the Arcus Sikaran. So it's over to you with your 4-up cover save.
So 4 up cover saves in an attempt to save the Arcus's life. 2 go through.
Okay, shall we see the result of these 2 penetrating hits? So we've got a roll of a 6 and a 4, which is immobilised and a stunned result, which is pretty good, which is also 2 hull points taken off the Sikaran. Summary for the Sons of Horus turn 1. The Contemptor ran up 6 inches just to get a better line of sight onto the Rhino. The breachers on the battlefield, who took several casualties, managed to pass their leadership test. Good round of shooting and all. Horus would be proud.
Imperial Fists, turn 1, movement. The rather shattered breacher squad has moved round the side of the crate to defend themselves, hiding from the Leviathan. In the centre line, the quad mortars have held their position, whereas the Spartan has moved up to engage the Dreadio. At the back, the second Breacher squad has moved up in support of Dawn and his Terminators in the Spartan. The Sakaran battle tank has reversed, turning its gun turret in an attempt to target the Sons of Horus Contemptor Dreadnought. The Sakaran Arcus has been unable to move due to an immobilise result, and the Rhino has come around also to engage the Deredeo. Imperial Fish shooting, turn 1. The Quad Mortar Battery is now going to attempt to engage the Leviathan. They are going to fire 12 shots, needing 3s to hit. Against armour 13 and strength 8, there'll be 5s to glance and 6s to pen with a reroll for Sunder. So, 12 shots. That is not a bad round of shooting. There's 4 misses, which means 8 hits. They need 5s to glance and 6s to pen. So far, that is a glance and a penetrating hit. Followed by 2 more penetrating hits and 3 more glances, meaning grand total of 7 invulnerable saves, 3 pens and 4 glances. Right, can you roll the glancing hits for the Leviathan first?
4 plus invuls. 2 passed, 2 failed.
Followed by 3 penetrating hits. Third one gets through. So rolling on the damage chart at AP4, that is a weapon destroyed result. Round up of shooting attacks against the Leviathan, it has taken 3 hull points, one of which was a penetrating hit, which has removed a heavy flamer. Imperial Fist's shooting phase, now onto the Land Raider Spartan, who's going to target its quad las cannons onto the Deredeo at the back. So starting off, 4 twin link las cannons. That's 3 hits so far with 1 reroll for twin linked, which is also a hit. I'm going to need 4s to glance and 5s to pen. That is 2 glancing hits and a penetrating hit. Can you do the glancing hits first, please?
Glance in, 5 plus invul. Neither. And then the penetrating. No.
Oh, that's going to go through, so he's gone. Shall we see if he explodes? The Deredeo does not explode, but is most certainly ground into the dust. The Sakaran battle tank has targeted its twin-linked accelerator autocannon against the Sons of Horus Contemptor Dreadnought. 6 shots, hitting on 3s with reroll for twin-linked. That is some desperately needed rerolls. So we've got 5 hits so far. At strength 7 against armor 13, they're going to need 6s to rend, which could cause a penetrating hit. That is 2 rends, which add for the first one. 1, making it a glancing hit, and second, 3 to make it a penetrating hit. So, heavy cover saves though for the Contemptor.
The glance first. It's passed. The pen
is
also passed.
Good. The Sakaran Arcus is now going to target the Sons of Horus Quad Mortar Battery at the back. Due to him taking heavy fire from them, he is snapshotting. So although he has not moved and getting double the shots to 8, he is now only hitting on 6s. Only 1 of which hits. These are strength 8, needing 3s to wound. At AP2, that is going to be a devastating wound. There is a cover save of 5 up against the Quad Mortar Battery. However, any successfuls must be re-rolled.
Here we go. Unsuccessful.
So that's 1 damage on a Quad Mortar team. Final part of the Imperial Fish shooting phase. The Rhino, who has moved 6 inches, is going to attempt to damage the Horus Dreadnought using its pintle-mounted multi-melter. So, hitting on a 3, which hits. At strength 8, need 5s to glance and 6s to pen. It bounces off and does no damage. Imperial Fists, turn 1, roundup. Very good turn. Started to move out of the deployment zone. Major damage done to the 2 back dreadnoughts. The Leviathan has been reduced down to 1 hull point from 4, and the Deredeo has been destroyed.
Sons of Horus, turn 2, movement. Horus has deep striked in directly onto the objective, hoping to contain that for the rest of the games, making Dawn come to him. Abaddon has failed to come in and has been delayed for the time being. The Leviathan has moved up to hopefully add some supporting fire, where the rest of the army have just held still and not moved, trying to protect our objective for the time being. Sons of Horus turn to shooting. Horus has decided to take out the rest of these breachers, starting with his Talon of Horus. We're going to need 2s to hit. All hits. Strength 5, toughness 5, so it's going to be 4s. That's 2 at AP 3.
The first save is going to be taken on a breacher using his breacher shield, which fails. The second goes on to the sergeant with his artificer armor, which is saved.
The Justarian are now going to focus their fire on the breacher squad. We'll start with the multi-melter, hitting on 2s. That's a hit. Wounding on 2s. That's a wound.
So I'm going to attempt to save this with a lookout, sir, which fails. So the sergeant must take it on his own breacher shield, which also fails. He's dead.
And now we're going to go with the combi bolters. 3 combi bolters in the unit. Hitting on 2s for death dealers. All hit. Wounding on 4s. 1 wound. 1 save there for me,
The last
please.
breacher in the squad attempts to save himself and passes.
Next to fire, the Leviathan is going to use his storm cannon to try and take to pieces this quad mortar team. Needing 2s to hit. All hits. Strength 7, toughness 7 is going to be 4s to wound. Just 2 at AP 3. So that's going to kill 1 Marine and take a wound off a quad launcher. The quad launchers are now going to target the Arcanus Sicaran. We need to take off this last hull point. We're going to need 3s to hit. Really good, only 1 miss. Strength 8, side armor 12. 4s to glance, 5s to pen. So we have 3 pens with a 4-up cover save. Oh, we have a reroll for Sunder for another penetrating hit. So there'll be 4 cover saves for you, my friend.
So these will be 4-up cover saves, same as last time. Can I save the Arcus's life? No. 1 goes through and the Arcus is destroyed.
Next to fire and last to fire is the Contemptor Dreadnought. He's going to use his Carrier's Assault Cannon to try and pop this Rhino that took a cheeky shot at him last time. We're going to need 2s to hit. All hit. It'll be 5s to glance, 6s to pen. That's 3 pens and 1 glance. So that's enough to destroy the Rhino, not enough for it to blow up. So now the troops are going to have to get out and take some cover. End of the Sons of Horus shooting phase. The unit of Imperial Fist that came out of the Rhino are now pinned. The lone breacher near the War Master passed his morale test and is offering himself up as a target. Overall, a fantastic round of shooting. The War Master is very pleased, especially with his quad mortar team taking out that Sicaran. Good job, boys.
Imperial Fist movement turn 2. The tactical squad, which is now pinned, can only attempt snapshots against the gun team ahead of them, whilst their armour backup has been destroyed. The Sicaran battle tank has a wealth of options of either a Contemptor's Dreadnought or possibly a Leviathan. Otherwise, he is hidden. The Breacher squad have slowly but surely moved forward, a little too slowly for the commander's liking, but they are making their way towards Horus's deep strike zone. The Land Raider Spartan has moved forward to engage the Leviathan, blocking partially line of sight from the quad mortar battery at the back. Finally, Rogel Dawn himself has left his transport with his bodyguard and commander Alexis Pollux to engage Horus Lupercal. Imperial Fist shooting turn 2. The lone breacher opened up with a rapid fire volley from his bolt gun, but did no damage to the Justarian Terminators. Alexis Pollux is going to use his combi melter in an attempt to soften up Horus's bodyguard. He uses it, but fails to hit. The Land Raider Spartan is now going to use its quad las cannon batteries in an attempt to finish off the the Sons of Horus Leviathan. So 4 shots, hitting on 3s with twin linked. 4 hits. Front armor 13 against strength 9. It needs 4s to glance and 5s to pen. That is 3 penetrating hits on the Leviathan.
So we've got 3 4+ invulns for the War Master.
Failed. Does he explode from the las cannons penetrating his armor? He does! The Leviathan is destroyed in a catastrophic explosion, but thankfully no one is near enough to take any damage. The quad mortar battery has turned its direction over to the veteran squad at the back of the board. They've managed to get a direct hit, and a total of 16 wounds have damaged the Sons of Horus. So, wounding on 3s for strength 5. That makes 10 armor saves at AP 5.
So before the sergeant, we've got at least 6 guys who's going to take the full whack of it. 3+ saves. So 2 guys have gone. Got another 4. So we're going to take... So how many's left on the sergeant now till we get to the sergeant? 4. So let's take these ones at 3+. Another 2, so that's 4 gone in total.
The snapshotting Imperial Fists are now going to attempt to fire back against the quad mortar battery. 9 shots hitting on 6s. The Marines only hit once, and they need 6s to wound. Which they do!
So we've got a 3+ armor save, which of course they fail. Now that has hit that front quad mortar, which has already taken a wound, so that's going to take that one out. Great job.
The Sakaran is now going to attempt to take down the Contemptor Dreadnought using its twin-linked accelerator autocannons. These are hitting on 3 with twin-linked. So that's 5 hits so far, and it needs 6s on the rend to do a penetrating hit. It fails. End of turn 2 shooting phase for the Imperial Fists. The second Breacher Squad has ran up in an attempt to support the combat that will surely take place next. Imperial Fists, combat phase turn 2. Rogel Dawn has charged Horus's bodyguard with his Terminators. Horus overwatched, scoring 2 hits, but was unable to deal any damage against the hardened Terminator armor. Horus and Dawn have now been in a challenge which Dawn has issued. At initiative step 10, due to their right of war, the Terminators from the Imperial Fists get a Hammer of Wrath attack. 4 have made it to base contact. That is 3 armor saves on the Justerian Terminators.
All okay. So we're now in the challenge. Horus is attacking first with initiative 6. He's going to need 4s to hit with weapon skill 8 against weapon skill 8 using his Talon. All his attacks are going to be using his Talon. So we're going to need 4s to hit. That is 0 hits. Initiative step 4, we now have the Justin Terminator with the Lightning Claws. He's going to be attacking the Imperial Fist Terminators in front of him. He's going to need 4s to hit. 1 hit. Strength 4, toughness 5. Toughness 4, so it's going to be 4s to wound with a reroll. That's 1 wound. 1 2-up save.
Passed. Initiative step 4 continued. Rogel Dawn is striking back at his wayward brother using Storm's Teeth, his chainsword. He has 5 attacks for charging. He is going to be strength 7 on the charge for Furious Charge and needs 4s to hit. That is 2 hits. This is at strength 7, so wounding on 3s with a reroll. With a reroll, that is 2 invulnerable saves.
2 invulnerable saves of a 3+ with Serpent Scales.
One goes through, a wound to Horus. At initiative step 1, Alexis Pollux has swung against the Justerian Terminators with 4 attacks on the charge with his mastercrafted Power Fist at strength 10. He has hit twice thanks to a reroll for mastercrafted, and he has wounded twice.
So we've got 2 4+ invulnerable saves. 1 passed and 1 squished Terminator.
At initiative step 1, the Imperial Fist Terminators have swung at the Justerian Terminators. On the charge, and with Furious Charge from Rogel Dawn with their Chain Fist, they are Strength 9. After our rolls, we have managed to cause 4 wounds on the Justerian Terminators, which all 4 have been failed, killing 4 Terminators.
So before they die, the Justine Terminators get their turn to fight back. We've got 2 Chain Fists and 2 Power Fists. At weapon skill 5, they're going to be hitting on 3s. Just 2 misses there. And now we're going to be wounding on 2s. Pretty important, this one. That looks like all wounds there. Let me move those out of the way. So that is 6 wounds, please, to save.
I'm going to roll first 5 for the Imperial Fist Terminators, because they are before Alexis Pollux. So the first 5 rolls on a 3-up invulnerable save for their Storm Shields. 4 Terminators are slaughtered in response, and 1 is left to take the final hit before Pollux himself. He is also slain. The entire squad is destroyed in response. At the end of that combat then, all of the Terminators from the Primarch's bodyguards have been destroyed, leaving just Rogel Dawn and his commander Alexis Pollux to face off against the War Master Horus Lupercal. At the end of turn 2 then, the Sons of Horus veteran squad have passed their leadership test to remain on the board. Overall, a fairly devastating turn with the loss of the Leviathan and another quad mortar team for the Sons of Horus.
Sons of Horus, turn 3 movement. Abaddon has arrived from reserves with his Justarian bodyguard. Scattered. The Terminators then passed mostly their dangerous terrain test. 1 took a wound but then passed his armor save. The quad mortars, the 1 remaining, has not moved, is staying stationary. The veteran tacticals have spread out so they don't get fragged to death on their next turn. And then the Contemptor Dreadnought has moved up, ready to engage the Imperial Fists that are hiding behind the barricade. Sons of Horus, turn 3, shooting. The Contemptor Dreadnought is going to use first his Kerry's Assault Cannon, aiming at the Imperial Fists behind the Rhino. Needing 2s to hit. 1 miss. 2s to wound with 6s rendered. 2 1s there, so only 3 go through, no rends.
3 3-up armor saves on the Tactical Marines. 1 of them bites the dust.
And then we shall also fire the Combi Bolter that is in his close combat weapon. 2s to hit. And then 4s to wound. That's a wound.
1 more armor save, which is passed.
Oh. The Quad Mortars are now going to fire at the Imperial Fists that are still pinned at the moment. They've got a direct hit, which caused 9 hits. And now we're going to roll to hit with these. Roll to wound, needing 3s with 2 misses on there. Wait for you.
7 armor saves on the Imperial Fist Tactical Marines, all of which pass.
So the Justarian Terminators that have come from Deep Strike, the Multi-Melter is going to take a shot at the Quad Mortar over there, needing 3s to hit. That's a hit, needing 3s to wound. That's a wound, which destroys the Rapier Carriage. And then we've got 3 Combi Bolters, needing 3s to hit. 2 misses, twin linked, with 2 more hits. So that's all hits. And then we're going to need 5s to wound, 6s to wound. 2.
2 3-up armor saves on the gun teams. With 1 gun already dead, it is going straight on to the next 2 crew. And they survive.
Sons of Horus, turn 3. This is the combat phase. Horus is attacking first at initiative 6. Hopefully, this time he will hit with at least 1 with his Talon. He's using all his attacks with his Talon. We'll be hitting on 4s. 1 single hit. Now we're going to be wounding on 3s with reroll for Shred. 'Tis a wound.
So 1 armor save for Dawn. This is a 4-up invulnerable save, which he fails. That is a wound to Dawn.
Now, because Dawn suffered a wound, for the rest of the game he is now going to suffer -1 weapon skill and -1 strength.
Rogel Dawn shall swing back against Horus. For the cost of halving his attacks, for Sundering Blow, he will add 2 to his strength, so minus the 1 from the deadly Reaping Talons, he is now back up to strength 7. So hitting upon 4s, which he fails to do. Dawn does not manage to hit Horus. Now on to initiative step 1. Alexis Pollux has joined the fight. With his mastercrafted Power Fist, he is going to attempt to strike Horus. Needing 4s to hit. He hits once, but due to mastercrafted, he gets 1 reroll, which also hits. He's strength 10 and therefore needs 2s to wound Horus. That is 2 invulnerable saves on Horus.
So we have 2 invulnerable saves with the Serpent Scales of a 3+.
Another wound!
Another wound, he's took 2 now. So end of the turn for the Sons of Horus. A pretty decent turn. Horus managed to wound Dawn, which is making a slow but steady difference with his weapon skill and strength going down. Abaddon getting onto the battlefield is a big difference, and the Dreadnought now going up the board on the flank is hopefully going to distract the Imperial Fists. Horus also failed his It Will Not Die roll.
So Imperial Fist movement, turn 3. The tactical squad, now unpinned, have moved towards the gun team and the potential objective. Over here, the Land Raider has backed up, readying itself to unleash its las cannons against the Justerian Terminators. And the Sakaran battle tank has also moved forward to support. The last squad of breaches may be needed if combat is going to continue, so they have moved up as well. And the final breacher has moved to support his lord on the objective. Imperial Fist shooting, turn 3. The tactical squad are going to open up with their bolt guns against the Sons of Horus quad mortar battery. So 9 shots from bolt guns hitting on 2s for Imperial Fist bolter drill. All but 1 hit, and they need 6s to wound. That's fishing for 6s. That is 3 armor saves against the quad mortars.
3+.
That is 2 wounds, which I believe destroys the nearest gun team. Continuing the Imperial Fist shooting phase, the Land Raider Spartan has backed up to fire upon the Justerian Terminators. It can see Ezekiel Abaddon and 3 of his bodyguards. So starting off, 4 las cannons, hitting on 3s with twin linked. That's 3 hits, and at strength 9 they need 2s to wound at AP 2. That's 2 invulnerable saves.
I'll look out, sir, one of those, which passes. So 2 4-up invuls, 1 passes and 1 bites the dust.
Next, there is a trio of snapshotting heavy bolter rounds, needing 6s but twin linked. That's 2 hits so far. 2 hits is not bad at all for a snapshot. At strength 5, they need 3s to wound. That is 1 armor save.
Abaddon will tank this one himself on a 2+, which he fails. He's down to 2 wounds.
Next, the Imperial Fist Breacher squad, which has moved up, is going to open up with their bolt guns against Abaddon's Terminator squad. So for bolter drill, they are hitting on 2s. There are 9 that are in range. That is 8 hits, and they need 4s to wound. That is 2 wounds on Abaddon's squad.
So taking on the first Terminator, they've got 2 wounds each. So 2 2-ups. Fails 1, he's down to 1 wound at the front.
The Sakaran battle tank is going to turn its twin-linked accelerator autocannon against the Justerians Terminators with 6 shots hitting on 3s and twin-linked. That is 3 hits so far and 3 misses, which become only 1 due to twin-linked. These are strength 7, wounding on 2s, but rending on 6s. No rends, but 3 armor saves for the Terminators.
Starting with the wounded Terminator at the front, I'll take these 1 by 1. It's a pass. It's a pass. It's a pass.
Right, so the Lonely Breacher will rapid fire with his bolt gun at the Justerian Terminators. For bolter drill, he hits on 2s, he hits once with 4s to wound, which he makes.
2-up save. She passes.
The Terminator loves it. Last of the Imperial Fist shooting, the quad mortar battery is going to fire shatter shells at the Justerian Terminators. There are 8 shots, they're hitting on 3s. That is not a bad lot of shooting, that is 5 hits. And at strength 8 against toughness 4, they are going to need 2s to wound. So that is 4 wounds on 2-up armor saves.
So, I shall do these one by one to see how we go with these. First is the Terminator at the front. 2 up. 2 up. 2 up. 2 up. They are all passed.
Imperial Fist combat round, 3rd turn. Horus Lupercal will start off the combat at the highest initiative step.
He's going to use all his attacks with his claw again. Needing 3s to hit. 3 hits this time. A little bit better. Now we're going to need 4s to wound with a reroll for shred.
3s.
3s to wound, sorry, so they all wound. So that's 3 invulns, please.
So 3 invulnerable saves for Rogel Dawn on a 4-up for the Auric armor. 2 are failed, so the deadly strike is multiplying its effect. Rogel Dawn will now strike back against Horus using Storm's Teeth. Because of Horus's disabling strike, he is at -3 to his strength and weapon skill. This means that he will be hitting on 4s and wounding on 5s. The roll has given us 1 hit and 1 miss. With Shred, this is a reroll, wounding on 5s. Let's see if we can get that reroll. It is a wound. Horus needs to take an invulnerable save.
3 plus Serpent Scales invul.
Which is failed. Horus is down another wound. At initiative step 1, Alexis Pollux now joins the fight with 3 attacks with his mastercrafted Power Fist. He's going to be hitting Horus on 4s. He hits twice and thanks to mastercrafted gets 1 reroll. That is 3 hits. Hopefully I can do that again on the wounds. At strength 10, he needs 2s to wound. That is 3 invulnerable saves on Horus.
3 invuls. 1 fail. He's down to 2 wounds left.
At the end of the combat phase, Rogel Dawn has managed to pass his It Will Not Die save, putting him back onto 2 wounds. For the rest of the turn, it has been pretty eventful. We've managed to reduce some of the Justerian Terminator squad that has just arrived from ongoing reserves. Elsewhere, the Imperial Fist line is spreading out.
Sons of Horus, turn 4, movement. At the end of the previous turn, the remaining Marines from the quad mortars failed their morale check and drew back 12 inches. But at the beginning of the movement phase, they have rallied and moved 3 inches back into cover. The veteran attack squad are staying put, ready to defend the objective. And the Contemptor Dreadnought has moved up, ready for a charge against the Imperial Fists. Abaddon and the remaining Justerian Terminators got a really poor move through cover, only 2 inches, but are preparing for a long charge the next turn. Sons of Horus, turn 4, shooting. The Justerian Terminators are going to focus their fire against the quad mortar team. They're going to fire the combi bolters first to try and get rid of the crew. Hitting on 3s. That's all hits. Wounding on 6s. That's no wounds. Now the multi-melter. Hitting on 3s. And that's a miss. Sons of Horus, turn 4, assault phase. The Contemptor Dreadnought made his 8-inch charge into the rear of the Imperial Fists, and now he's trying to smash some face. So he's going to need 3s to hit, and then 2s to wound. 1 miss, 2s to smush. 1 miss there, so 2 smushed Marines.
Right, so the Marines cannot harm the Dreadnought back, so they've lost combat by 2, but because Dawn is on the field, They add D3 to their combat result of 3, which means they are not going to be swept.
At the beginning of the combat, the Hammer of Wrath was ineffective. Sons of Horus, continuation of the assault phase. Now it's time for the War Master to hopefully finish off his brother. Initiative step 6. 5 attacks with his Talon of Horus, needing 3s to hit. That's 3 misses. And now needing 3s to wound with a reroll. 1 reroll for shred. Just 1 wound getting through.
1 invulnerable save for Dawn on a 4-up. Oh, he's failed. So that wound that he got back last turn has now returned. Continuation of the challenge at initiative step 4. Dawn continues. Thanks to Horus's disabling strike, he is now down to weapon skill 4 and strength of only 2. However, using Sundering Blow, he is going to half his attacks again to 2 to attempt to put his strength back up to 4. So, needing 4s to hit, that's 1 hit, and needing 6s to wound with a reroll for shred. Nothing so far. Nothing again. On to the next initiative step. At initiative step 1, Alexis Pollux will swing with his Mastercrafted Power Fist, hitting Horus on 4s with 1 reroll for Mastercrafted. That's 1 hit, which becomes 2, needing 2s to wound for strength 10. That is 2 invulnerable saves on the War Master.
2 invuls of 3+ for Serpent Scales.
The War Master takes another wound.
At the end of the Sons of Horus turn 4, the War Master managed to get his wound back with his It Will Not Die, so he's now still only on 4 wounds. At the end of the turn, it seems to be a reasonably good turn for the Sons of Horus. Managed to tie up the tactical squad at the back with the Contemptor Dreadnought, and with Abaddon looking close to a charge, I think the game is on a knife edge.
Imperial Fists, movement, turn 4. The Marines here are obviously stuck in combat with the Contemptor Dreadnought. Over in the main battle line, the second Breacher squad is moving up, ready to either open fire on the Justerian or Horus, whoever walks out of combat. The Sakaran battle tank has moved a slight few inches to get a better view of the Terminators. The Land Raider Spawn has walked its way backwards, slowly but surely, to the centre field. The guns have not moved, and the last lone breacher from the first squad has moved slightly away so that he's not going to get caught by any charging Terminators. Imperial Fists, shooting phase, round 4. The breacher squad that is now holding the centre have turned their bolt guns toward the Justerian Terminators. They can see 1 on the ground floor and 1 on the upper story. They have 9 men with bolt guns, hitting on 2s for Imperial Fist Bolter Drill. That is 8 hits, and they are wounding the Justerian on 4s. Not good, that's only 2 armor saves for the Justerian to take.
2+. He's fine.
2 saves passed. Next is the Sakaran battle tank with its twin-linked accelerator autocannon. It, like the breachers, can see 1 Justerian Terminator on the floor and 1 Justerian Terminator on the upper story. Hopefully he'll put them both on the floor. 6 shots with twin-linked, hitting on 3s. Rerolls for twin-linked. That is all hit at strength 7. These need 2s, and 6s are rending. That is 4 armor saves and 2 invulnerable saves on the Terminators.
So, I'll do the normal armor saves first.
For 1 wound.
1 goes through, putting 1 down to 1 wound, and then 2, 4+, which 1 passes, so that is 1 Terminator taken out of action.
The Land Raider Spartan will now use the 1 las cannon that can see against the Justerian on the top floor. 2 shots hitting on 3s with twin-linked. Both hit. At strength 9, they need 2s to kill the Terminator. That is 1 invulnerable save.
4+.
Oh, he survives. So next it is the twin-linked heavy bolters to see if they can finish the job. 1 hit so far with twin-linked. That makes 2 hits. 3s to wound, that's 2 armor saves.
2+.
He makes them both. So the quad mortar battery next. They have the line of sight to the Justerian Terminators with 8 shots hitting on 3s. They only make 4 hits. However, they need 2s to wounds because they are strength 8. That is 4 armor saves on the Justerian. Oh, and that is 1 gone. Imperial Fist, combat phase, turn 4. In an insane bout of heroism, the last breacher has charged into the combat with Horus himself.
Combat between the Imperial Fist Tactical Squad and the Contemptor Dreadnought. Contemptor Dreadnought's got his 3 attacks, going to be hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s.
That is
2
dead
smushed.
tactical marines. In order to use the "our weapons are useless" special rule, the Imperial Fists have chosen to fail their leadership test after the combat with the Contemptor Dreadnought. So it all comes down to an initiative step test. I rolled a 3. And it's a 5! They are swept and destroyed by the Dreadnought. After sweeping the Imperial Fist unit, the Contemptor Dreadnought has consolidated forward 2 inches.
Combat between Horus Lupercal and Rogor Dawn has now come down to this bitter and terrible end, because he's now fighting with weapon skill 4, Dawn is now, against Horus's 8, which means that Horus gets D3 extra attacks. We've done that, and he's got 2 extra attacks this round, giving him a total of 7. He's going to be hitting on 3s. 2 misses that time. He's now going to be wounding on 3s with a reroll for shred. So 3 wounds go through. Oh, and 2 rerolls for shred. That's 5 wounds in total go through.
So Rogor Dawn must make these 5 wounds in order to survive and stay into the battle. He has 3 left, with his auric armor giving a 4-up invulnerable save. Oh, and he fails 3, meaning Rogor Dawn falls to the talons of Horus. At initiative step 4, we have a charging breacher, the last breacher from the first squad. He's going to join the fight. He has 2 attacks and will be hitting Horus on 4s. And unfortunately misses, so it goes down to initiative step 1 with Alexis Pollux, who has 3 attacks. With his Mastercrafted Power Fist, he will be hitting on 4s. Rerolling 1 for Mastercrafted. And he fails, which means Horus has won the combat. At the end of that combat phase then, Horus has killed his brother Rogor Dawn. Alexis Pollux was unable to harm the Warmaster in response for his lord's death. He has chosen to pass his leadership test, and the lone breacher also managed to pass on a roll of double 1, insane heroism. At the end of that turn, a bitter turn for the Imperial Fists, losing both a tactical squad and, more importantly, their lord and sire. However, they still hold the centre of the field.
Sons of Horus, turn 5, movement. Abaddon has separated himself from his bodyguard unit so he can take on Pollux himself, and his Terminators have found cover ready to score the objective later in the game, hopefully. The Contemptor Dreadnought has moved forward, ready to engage the Spartan. The veteran tactical marines at the back have stayed put, doing a wonderful job of securing their objective. And the Rapier Quad team, well, the remaining marines, are having a nice conversation about how good it is hiding out of the way. Sons of Horus, turn 5 shooting. The Contemptor Dreadnought is going to use his Carey's assault cannon and plough some shots into the back of the breachers, hitting on 2s. 1 miss. Wounding on 3s.
You're right, 3s.
That's 5 wounds.
One of which is a rend. Which would you like me to do first?
Do the Ren first, please.
So the rend is going on regular marine. He's hidden behind a barricade, so that's a 5-up, I believe, for being hidden behind a barricade. And he dies. There is next a single marine who is going to take the wounds before his sergeant. He survives the first one. He dies to the second one. The wounds now pass on to the sergeant, both of which I will attempt to look out, sir. Both of which go onto the squad, so 2 3-up armor saves, and both of which are passed.
Contemptor Dreadnought then fired his combi bolter to no avail, rolling double 1. Sons of Horus, turn 5 assault phase. Abaddon has declared a charge against the Imperial Fists in combat with the War Master. Due to the special rule, the Long March, the right of war, he has got fleet in no man's land. It's a 7-inch charge. That's a 5. We'll re-roll both. To a 12. A challenge has been issued from Captain Pollux, and the War Master has accepted, hoping to do to him what he did to his sire. Horus has 5 attacks. He is again using his claw. He will be needing 3s to hit. That is all hits. He will be needing 2s to wound with a reroll for shred. 2 rerolls. So 1 fail.
So, Alexis Pollux has a 3-up invulnerable save and 3 wounds. I will roll 3 at a time first on a 3-up. He takes 1 wound so far, and 1 wound only. At the next initiative step, the Lone Breacher will strike out against Ezekiel Abaddon with 1 attack hitting on 4s, which he hits, and wounding on 4s, which he wounds.
2 plus save.
Which Abaddon passes.
Continuation of the combat. Abaddon will now be striking at the Lone Breacher with his Mastercrafted Power Fist. We're going to be hitting on 3s with a reroll for Mastercrafted. That's 5 hits, wounding on 2s. 4 wounds.
Now I'm going to take these one at a time on the Breacher, who has a 5-up invuln in close combat. Any others will spill on to Pollux in the challenge. The first one is failed, which means Alexis Pollux must take 3 invulnerable saves. If he fails 1, he will be killed. Oh, and he does. Alexis Pollux will die. However, because it is initiative step 1, he will still get to strike the War Master. Before Alexis Pollux is slain by Abaddon's Power Fist, his attacks will go on to Horus the War Master. He has 3 attacks, but due to a disabling strike, he is -1 strength and -1 weapon skill. So at weapon skill 4, he will be hitting the War Master on 4s. He hits 3 times, now down to strength 8 after modifiers. He will be wounding Abaddon on 3s. He wounds thrice. The War Master must take 3 invulnerable saves. And he fails. The War Master is slain by Alexis Pollux. A worthy end for Pollux, I think.
End of the Sons of Horus, turn 5. With the War Master now dead, Abaddon has now consolidated behind the crate to stop any further damage coming his way, hopefully able to take the objective at the end of the game with his Terminators. A brutal turn. Hopefully the Sons of Horus can now hang on just long enough to withstand the oncoming tide of yellow.
Imperial Fists, turn 5. The Quad Mortars have elected not to move to rain fire down upon the Sons of Horus veterans hiding in the backboard. The Zakaran battle tank attempted to move forward but became entrapped on the barricades after failing a dangerous terrain roll and is now immobilized. The Land Raider Spartan is now filled with the second Breacher squad who embarked upon it. It has now moved its full move of 12 inches towards the last objective. Imperial Fists, turn 5 shooting. The Quad Mortar battery has fired at the veteran squad hiding at the back. However, due to a scatter miss, a missed shot from a scatter, they have failed to hit a single thing. Continuing the Imperial Fist shooting phase, the Land Raider Spartan is now going to use its power of the Machine Spirit to fire its quad las cannon into the Contemptor Dreadnought to hopefully disable it. So, needing 3s to hit. That's 2 hits. 4s to glance from strength 9 against armor 13. But it fails to do anything. The Dreadnought is up and running. A short turn for the Imperial Fists. The immobilized Sakaran can no longer target any Sons of Horus unit due to line of sight blocking terrain and its poor angle after an immobilized result. There will be no charges.
Sons of Horus turn 6 movement. Unfortunately, due to some unsteady angles and a lack of foresight, the Justarian Terminators haven't been able to reach the objective by an inch. So they're now stuck out in no man's land at the moment. Abaddon has moved round, ready to charge the quad mortar teams. And the Contemptor Dreadnought has positioned itself ready to charge the Spartan, hopefully to help halt the breachers that are going to be disembarking next turn. With the Marine Tactical Veterans making a gun line ready to run up and hopefully protect the objective. Sons of Horus shooting phase, the Marine Tactical Veteran Squad have ran just a single inch, hoping to help protect the objective. And now the Contemptor Dreadnought is going to fire into the Spartan using its Carey's assault cannon, needing 2s to hit. 1 miss. Now needing 6s to rend. A lot of 5s, but no 6s. Sons of Horus continues the shooting phase. The Justarian Terminators use their 1 remaining combi bolter to take some shots at the quad mortars, unfortunately doing nothing. Sons of Horus assault phase. Abaddon made his charge into the quad mortar team, and the Contemptor Dreadnought has made his charge into the rear of the Spartan. So we're going to start with the combat with Abaddon. 4 attacks, +1 for the charge. He's going to use his power sword for this. He's going to be hitting on 3s with 1 miss. He's going to be wounding on 4s. That's 4 wounds.
So that's 4 dead from the gun team. There is 1 crewman left in the building. At initiative step 4, he will consolidate in with 1 attack. He needs 4s to hit, which he does, and 4s to wound, which he does.
2+ save.
Oh, so they lose combat by 4. Their leadership 8, and they are most definitely running.
Due to cataphractic armour, Abaddon can't do a sweeping advance, so he's just consolidated 4 inches forward to try and get some cover from the Spartan. The Marine failed his morale check and has fell back 9 inches. Continuation of the Sons of Horus assault phase. The Contemptor Dreadnought is going to be assaulting the Spartan. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Then it's going to be 4s to glance, 5s to pen. That's 2 penetrating hits.
Oh dear.
Shall we see what these do? +1 to this dice roll. Let's see what happens here. We've got an immobilized Spartan. I don't think that's going to be enough. Sons of Horus, end of turn 6. They've done everything possible to try and claim a victory. Will it be enough, or can the Imperial Fist pull this out of the bag? There's some supporting defences, but just will it be enough?
The final turn of the Imperial Fists, turn 6. The last of the gun crew has failed his morale test and has fled the field, giving the Sons of Horus another victory point for kill points. The Sakaran Arcus is still immobilized and will have trouble firing at any proposed targets. Over in the centre field, the immobilized Spartan has now disgorged its unit of breachers, who will endeavour to take down the Dreadnought. Imperial Fist shooting phase, turn 6. The Sakaran battle tank has fired at the Terminators. Over on the far corner, it has managed to score 6 hits. 3 of them have gone into regular wounds, whereas 3 have become rending wounds. So,
the Rens first at 4+ invuls.
Oh, that was lucky. And
All
the 2 up
saved.
armour saves are also all saved. The Terminators are safe for now. The immobilized and shaken Land Raider is going to separate its targets, snapshotting its heavy bolters and las cannons at the Terminators, and using power of the machine spirit to turn one of its las cannons around to fire at the dreadnought. We'll start with the heavy bolters, hitting on 6s. 1 hit with twin linked. 1 hit so far, needing 5s to wound. 1 armor save. Terminators love it. Followed by 2 shots from the las cannons, hitting on 6s. With twin linked, 1 hit and 1 wound. He survives it. Finally, the 2 las cannons hitting on regular ballistic skill will fire into the side arc of the Contemptor Dreadnought. Luckily, they have twin linked. Oh, that is 1 hit on a side armor of 12, so needing 3s to glance, but they do nothing. Imperial Fists. Final phase, the combat phase of turn 6. The Breachers are charging into the Contemptor Dreadnought, but due to Overwatch, they lost 2 Marines on the way in, which has turned a 3-inch charge into a 7-inch charge because of terrain. And they just make it on a 7. They will be striking the Dreadnought.
Initiative 4 step in the combat. The Contemptor Dreadnought will be attacking first. 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's 3 hits. Squishing on 2s. That's 3 wounds.
That's 3 invulnerable saves in close combat. As all the Marines are equally equipped, I will roll them all at the same time. They need 5s to stay alive. That is 3 dead Marines. End of that combat phase then. The Imperial Fist suffered heavy casualties from the Dreadnought before they could even get into combat to use their melter bombs. As such, they failed their leadership test and have fled the field. However, they have not been caught in a sweeping advance by the Dreadnought. That is the end of the game. We're now going to tot up victory points to see who is the winner.
The game was incredibly tense. I cannot wait to share the victory points with you guys, but we're going to hang out for a little bit longer. Gents, I was on the edge of my seats the entire day. Tell me about your game.
It was literally from turn to turn, you could not call it.
Yeah.
At one stage, it looked like you were just going to swamp me.
Yeah.
And the next turn, it looked like I could just wipe you out. It was just crazy.
It did swing, definitely, especially with the ongoing reserves coming down. The Justinian Terminators with the Baden coming down, unfortunately, on a building that slowed them down. But then that allowed a Baden to then finish off all of my heroes in close combat.
I mean, if we look at the combat between the Primarchs, it was looking like Horus was going down quite hard, but then it just switched. Dawn went to
Horus,
Horus,
one roll.
And then Pollux took out Horus in the end. I mean, thrilling.
I think with Horus, you think that you're losing the longer it goes on, when actually you're winning because you're just reducing that weapon skill and strength to the point where they can't defend themselves. And I think that's what, if it would have just nothing changed throughout it, then it would have been a stalemate.
Yeah.
But because it's gradually got an advantage, that's how we managed to finally do something.
A thrilling game. We're going to do victory points now. I've dragged it out long enough. We'll start with the Imperial Fists. They scored 1 victory point for the Onslaught Assault, which you took out the Dodo in the first turn.
Yep.
Netting the Imperial Fist a point. You took out the Warlord, of course. And you got Price of Failure because he was your Warlord. So that put you on 3.
Yes.
Mighty score of 3. Congratulations. Now, Sons of Horus amazingly put it back right towards the end there. They also got Warlord and Price of Failure, but they won the War of Attrition, killing 11 Imperial Fist units compared to 4 Sons of Horus. So the final scores, 3-0 is an absolute draw. I just can't comprehend the draw.
It's a fair result.
It is fair.
I do think that's mega fair.
I think if you were a betting man, you would have bet for the Imperial Fist because they had numbers, they had a little bit more maneuverability, you had quite a lot of firepower.
I had long range again at the beginning match, but I think you just used your deep striking units really well. There were a couple of things like your Quarters Dreadnought. Contemptor
Dreadnought,
got through
absolute that. VP.
Oh,
he was
man,
brilliant.
match.
I mean, the other two were absolutely useless, as usual, but in a good way because they draw the firepower away from everything else to give you that time to get in and set something up.
I think for me, the game winner for the Sons of Horus, or I know it was a draw, but your genius movement was the deep strike with Horus. That is such a powerful unit, and the ability to not scatter. It deviated the Imperial Fist from their objective, and it was a massive distraction card effect.
Yeah.
It was. I managed to obviously counterattack with my Terminators.
Absolutely.
With Dawn, I was very surprised that all of the Terminators went down in the first round of combat, leaving just the heroes to soak up the blows.
To have all those there, with all these 2+ and 3+ like 2+ saves and 3+ invulnerables, and then them all to just be gone.
Yeah.
You can't write that stuff.
Yeah, I think it was a thrilling combat and really pivotal towards the end. I mean, that's where you both scored 2 rich points in there. So, it was only then the onslaught, assault, and the attrition that they scored additional. So it was really good. Man of the match for the Sons of Horus?
I think it's the Contemptor Dreadnought.
Yeah?
Yeah, easy.
He did a good job. He started slow, but he picked up speed towards the end, didn't he?
He mobilised the Spartan. He's broke the breaches, killed the attack squad, killed the Rhino, held that entire flank on his own.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely. For me, I think it will probably be the Spartan Assault Tank, the exact opposite. Heavy, lumbering, finished, took out the Deredeo straight on turn 1, finished off the Leviathan, pounded the Sons of Horus units when they first came into the Earth, and managed to get the last Breacher squad across the field. Unfortunately, he made his end at the Contemptor Dreadnought. So
it was a valiant effort, I think, for the
very much
Breachers.
so. Definitely earned his points back.
Definitely. I really enjoyed that. It's absolutely thrilling to watch. As I said earlier, I think the money was on the Imperial Fist at the beginning, but if you look at the specialisation of the Sons of Horus, they really pulled through with such low numbers, and I think that was really well paid on both parts. I really think it was. So congrats, gents. I have taken a ton of photos from this game, so if you'd like to see more photos, please go to the Facebook page when this game is released. You can have a look there. Gents, is there any shout outs or anything, final words you'd like to add?
I want to say a big thank you to Sarah, my girlfriend, partner, who lets me do this.
Yes.
That's awesome. She's even made me a little cupboard for me to paint in and everything. It's amazing. And also my brother, who does most of my painting, miniature painter 1985 on Instagram. Brilliant. And again, and to these guys for having me and playing me.
Our pleasure.
It's a pleasure because you don't get much time to do it with a full life, and games like this also make it really worth spending the money that you do and actually doing the hobby.
Yeah. Myself, I play at a local club down in Hedgerley. I'm certain we'll put it up on a website. I can't remember the name right now.
That's right, we'll
work it out later. But yeah, again, just thank you very much for having me on, and thank you very much for being my opponent, mate. So
thank you.
Good old game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. It's been a great game. We will absolutely invite these gents back. So if they want to come back and film another game against each other or different opponents, we will try and set that up with either one of you. Love to have you back.
Revenge, yeah.
I really hope you've enjoyed this game. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next Battle Report.